Hello and good morning, everyone. I'm just gonna give it a few more seconds before we jump into the webinar, just so everybody can get ready. I can maybe even start by introducing myself. My name is Matthias, and I work as an account manager here at Lime. And together with me, I also have Cleo, who is a product manager at Lime as well. So I will be taking you through the webinar today. And Cleo will be answering all your questions in the chat. So please, if you have any questions in the chat, please let us know. Perhaps Cleo can answer the questions right away, or maybe if it's quite a lot of the same questions, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of the session. And if we still have questions that we haven't answered, we will follow up to you after the webinar. So it looks like now the time is 1 past, so I think we're gonna start officially. Welcome everybody. I hope you haven't taken your Christmas vacation yet, or if you have, it's quite nice for you to be here with us. Today we're gonna go through the what are automated flows. We're gonna take a look on how does it work as a demo, what are the benefits of using automated flows, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into a few examples of how they may be used, and of course how to get started with them. And at the end we're going to have a short Q&A. I hope that sounds all right for everybody. And this webinar here is being recorded, and we will send it afterwards to everybody that has attended or wanted to attend. So if you can follow all the way, you will still have the opportunity to catch up. All right, perfect. So let's start by talking about what are automated flows. So basically, automated flows is a tool to help you bring customers and prospects on a personal journey through various communication channels. In other words, automation flows can be a precise series of 2 to 3 emails, for example, with directed content to a small audience, or it could be much larger, a more complex network of activities through maybe internal or even external channels. But don't let that overwhelm you. Often less is more, and that can still bring you quite good results by doing, or at least starting out simple. And so basically, automated flows are basically a logic of triggers and actions. This is a way we split up our audiences and send them off on different paths. We're gonna come a little bit more into that later on. But to summarize, let me see if, there you go, there it works. So automated flows are basically targeted communication across email and SMS. It helps you contribute to a meaningful customer journey. And of course, we personalize it, the customer journey with data from your CRM, which we're going to take a look on later on. But in the beginning, I talked about triggers and actions, and what are they really? So a trigger is that something happens or a condition is true. And there may be a lot of different triggers. It may be that somebody signs up to a newsletter. It may be that we have a download from our web page. It could be a status change in Lime CRM, like for example, like somebody becoming a customer or somebody unfortunately churning, or maybe we create a new ticket or a new sales opportunity, or even we have a customer that has been a customer for a year or maybe 10 years, etc. So a trigger is that something happens in the backend in Lime CRM or for example on our web page, etc. And then an action is something that happens based on that trigger. So it could be, for example, that when we get a new sign up on our newsletter, we want to keep them warm and engage them. So we maybe want to send them a series of communication through SMS or newsletter. So that is an action that we can do, and we can do a lot more, and we will come back into it. And that hopefully give us some results. But I know that it's still a little bit fuzzy, all this a little bit fuzzy, and so I think it's much easier to do, to give you a practical example of it. So not that long ago, I was told a story from a customer that kind of surprised me, since I'm a classic millennial kid. I'm not really used to getting posts anywhere else than at least my inbox or my DMs on Instagram. But this customer, let's call him Postal Express, used to send a postcard to all new customers that brought the services. So they had to manually print out the address, put it on an envelope, send it in the mailing delivery system, and hope that it reaches the customer. So as you can imagine, it was quite time consuming, and they were doing it quite often. They were doing it once a week or even once a day sometimes. And that resulted in not very accurate and old school way of getting in touch with your customer. They had no way of tracking their communication. They didn't know if the marketing plan worked. They didn't know if the person received it or even read it or even opened it or really did anything else to it except sending it and just hoping for the best. And now they're taking a different path, that they're working with automated flows. So now I'm actually gonna do a demo of automated flows, and I'm gonna be putting on my I'm gonna be putting on two hats actually during this presentation. One of them is gonna be I'm gonna call it the Matthias hat, the salesperson hat, and the other one is gonna be the Michael hat, the one for marketing. So if we start with, let us see here. So if we start with the sales hat, and hopefully you can all see my screen yet. So let me double check that you can, yeah, perfect. So in Lime CRM, now we are in the web client, but this works also quite well in the desktop client. Let's see how I work as a classic salesperson. So usually I will go into a deal. So let's say I work for Post Express, and I'm trying to close a deal. So what I want to go is just open my deal here on my pipeline, and maybe I can take it full screen as well. And here I have all the information that I really need about the deal. So I will be working on my deal. Maybe I'm sending a quote, and we're following up with a customer, etc., etc. So let's now imagine that we go from a quote to an actual agreement, which means that we have won the deal. And I just press save. And as a salesperson, this is the only action I need to do. I don't need to, for example, send an email to marketing. Oh, look, we have a new customer. Remember to send them in the welcome mail. Or I don't have to do anything else on that. So as a salesperson, I just work with that, and then I'm almost done. And we will see a little bit how I will be working with that as well. So as a marketing person, I don't want to be sitting too much into the CRM system and trying to manually update participants in a campaign or an activity. I mostly want to focus on what I'm good at. That's creating content, that's creating the branding, the strategy, and trying to find the best communication channels to actually reach our customers. So with automated flows, now we actually even saw a trigger. And the trigger was quite simple. It was just putting the status from quote to agreement. That is the trigger. So now we have a new customer in the system. So Matthias here is now the new customer that we have. And since we got a new customer and we want to welcome them, instead of sending the postcards that printing out the addresses, putting in the welcome mail into the envelope, sealing it, taking it to the post office and delivering it, and then hoping that it will reach in 2 or 3 days, and hope that the other person lives quite central to a city where the post reaches even faster, and then just go from there. So the sales rep does not have any information about what happened or what has happened to the customer in communication, and then marketing cannot really track anything else than hoping that we don't get the postcard in return. So, but just creating a trigger and just putting it from quote to agreement, now this flow can be started. And let's now put on the marketing hat and see how it actually looks from a marketing perspective. Because what we want to do is now take a look at the flow. So in Lime Marketing, that I think a lot of you already have with newsletter and service and event SMS and etc., I have now the ability to create an automated flow. So we have some basic settings over here that what the automated flow is called internally, some descriptions, application that is connected to, and some general other settings that we're not gonna go too deep into detail on. But what we wanna see quite often is how do we structure, how are we communicating with our customers? How do we create the customer journey and personalize it to Matthias, that is now the new customer? So let's actually go into the edit mode. And here in the edit mode, I already put up a few things, but this is where the actions part is. So we saw the triggers in Lime CRM, and now we're gonna see the actions. What do we want to happen after we have the trigger, after we have won the deal, and now we have a new customer? So to begin with, maybe I can just even take that one away. I can just add a delay here. So after, and I can choose what kind of delay it is. It could be a target date, a date and time, a specific one, a time of day, or a time interval. So here I can do after 1 day, I may want to add an action, which is maybe I want to send them an SMS, because we know SMS is quite a powerful way of communicating with people. Most people will actually look at an SMS. So, and it has a much higher deliverability rate than actually doing an email. So an SMS is quite a powerful tool. So let's call this one here, welcome as a new customer SMS. So sender, it can be Matthias from maybe note. I can do, yeah, let's just do Matthias, that's quite nice. I'm based in Norway, but +46, that's my customer name. And here I can just write an easy, a nice message. Hey, welcome. Maybe I even actually do, hey, Mr. or Mrs. MERS variable first name. There we go. Hey, first name. So hey, Matthias in this case. Welcome as a new customer. We are super happy, etc. And you get how this one works here. Let me actually do 2 lines. There we go. Perfect. So now after 1 day, we will send out an SMS. Now, after SMS, maybe we want to wait another day, and then maybe we want to send out an email. So we'll just like drag and drop, as I did earlier, into the email tab here. Here I can get a preview of the email that we're looking at, and of course I can edit it. So I can easily add drag and drop functions and just make it nice and pretty. And of course, just like you use newsletter otherwise. And of course, have a call to action. Usually we want to do that when we send out something, we want something at least that they can either see or get to know, or actually try and have a call to action. So maybe they want to press a link to get to know more about our products or our offering, etc. So when we're happy with the mail we're sending, now what do we do now? How can we personalize the customer journey even more based on activities that's actually happening and how the customer is interacting with our content? So we can add something that's called a condition, which basically means that on something that happened prior, we may want to do something else. So now this is, for example, a trigger inside an action. So for example, here we can take a look at, for example, an email activity. So we want to choose the email. Here we have, you should click the link email. And so we have chosen that one since the one beforehand. And what kind of condition do we want? Do we want to have a condition that if the email has been opened or not, or maybe has any links been clicked, or even a specific one? So let's do a specific one. I have a link here that I call automated flows that links us to our website in the previous email. So it's the one, so if I go back here, it's the one you see on the call to action. So when I press the button here, we'll open up our automated flows page. So let's go back to here. When we're done with the settings, then we want to know what happened. So if they have pressed the link, then into Lime again, we want to create a history note that this person has press the link. Maybe we want to create a history note with an info tile in Lime that maybe our sales person can work on. So for example, if they want to follow up a lead, for example, that's quite good. And maybe we even want to refresh the data on the participant. Maybe we have new information that we need to do. So if I press the link, and then maybe we want to send a new email that we want to do more info about automated flows, for example. So and then we edit the email, etc. So it's quite easy to work with and create that. So now we went down one path. So but if they actually did open the email and actually just press the link, but if they didn't, maybe we should remind them of it. So I can add at a note here, hey, have you forgotten about the email, etc. So we can remind them. And then maybe we want to add a delay, and then let's do a time interval, and then do 1 day, and then they will get an email as well. So it's quite easy to build quite custom flows. Yes, let's just delete that one for now. And of course, if we don't want to finish it, and then if they actually open the link, we can easily also make them go to a section here. So for example, we can put them back to the section over here, etc. And that's how we can build the customer journey from actually becoming a customer to actually working on not keeping that without doing anything manual. Like you, for example, have to go to all the customers that have gotten and send out, and then do the send out manually. Now it happens all at once. So it helps us save time. So when I'm happy with the flow, I can just save, and then I can maybe even start it. So it was not possible to start. Let me see. I think after, yeah, this one I can take away. Sorry for that. There we go. Now we should be able to start the flow. I'm sorry. That's why. There we go. Now we should start the flow. The demo goes section does not exist. I'm so sorry about that. So I'm just gonna take away a couple of steps here, so I know that it will probably work. But let's take actually a look on how it looks in Lime. So now if I go back into Lime and as a salesperson or as a marketing person, I want to see who is in the automated flow here. So I can just click on the automated flows and I can see the different participants. So here I have Frank, and then I have myself that I just added. So I didn't do anything manually, it just magically appeared in here. And I can always follow up on which action is next on the participant flow, or even if I open the person card in Lime, I can easily take a look and see which automated flows Matthias is being a part of. So it's quite easy to follow up. So when we start the flow, all the participants will be added into the flow, and then we will have everything will happen by itself, and each step will be again then shown back into Lime on the person card and the participant card. So it's quite easy to follow up all the way. So perfect. I think that's all the time we have for a really quick demo in the automated flows. So let's just quickly jump back into the presentation. And what are the benefits of using automated flows? So the first one is that we can create and grow relationships. The second one is that we can spend time wisely. That means that we can spend time on what actually give us a lot of value, instead of spending a lot of time on actually trying to find participants, do the segmentations, and do a lot of repetitive work. We can personalize the customer journey. So based on actions either in Lime or in the communications that we send out, we can personalize the next step. Of course, that helps us strengthen our customer relationships. It helps us always be top of mind, and it cultivates loyalty with the great first impression, especially if you're doing an onboarding flow. And of course, proactively maintain the relationship. So it's quite easy that someone has been a customer for a long time and it's nobody's responsibility any longer, and that we don't want them to be felt forgotten. So it's quite a nice way that to proactively maintain the relationship. A few examples that automated flows can be used for is, we already talked about the one, onboarding customers. So we could, for example, send a welcoming email for new customers. We could create more consistent customer journey, or even do some more upselling. It's much easier to do an upselling when the first have bought something. It can also be used as preventing churn. So for example, for a lot of our wholesale customers that are working with sales trend, and here we can even connect the power of the ERP connector, is that customers that, for example, have a low sales trend are added to a sales campaign automatically. And then we can do some customer communication out of that. Or that when a customer has a low NPS score or unhappy with something, or even if you work in IT, low usage of your solutions. Almost is maybe increasing sales. That's quite nice. Most people like that. So for example, if you work in the machinery industry, where you work a lot with service agreements or guarantees, maybe we want to send a reminder to our customer that, hey, your service agreement is coming up. You should either get a new one or maybe buy a new machine. Or maybe even upselling of specific products based on their sales history. Quite a common use of automated flows is nurture lead or lead nurturing, if I'm correct myself. So for example, it could be a new lead from your web page that maybe are not really ready to buy yet, and we don't want to spend a lot of our sales force squad's energy to trying to convert them. Maybe we want to do that with a marketing flow. Or maybe there have been sales opportunities that have stagnated, that have been layering in the pipe, nothing, they don't really move forward. It's not really the right timing, but maybe we can nurture them and try to get them hot again. Or even then working on lost deals. So a deal that we have lost, but maybe we can try and win them back again later on. And that takes me really nicely to the next point, which is win back customers. So sometimes, unfortunately, we may lose a customer, but then maybe if they go to a competitor, maybe we want to give them a special offer and put them in a flow to win back. And of course, just to follow up and stay on top of mind if they ever decide to come back. Or if you're working with events, for example, that's quite common. You may want to remind this of an event that is coming up, or you want to follow up after the event. Maybe if you're working with courses, you want them to sign up for a course that I've been interested in and following up after that. Or if you're working, so for example, a lot of customers within the football and the hockey sector, maybe after the game you want to follow up and remind them, oh, I hope you enjoyed the game. Maybe you want to buy tickets for the next one, etc. So these are some of the few examples that automated flows can be used for, and there are quite a lot of more ways that can be used for, and especially creatively as well. So here you can talk with your sales representative or your project manager, and maybe you can come up with a good way to use automated flows. Everything you really need is just a trigger and then an action to get us to the result we want. But let's take a step back and see, okay, how do we actually get started with automated flows? Because now we spoke of quite a lot of things, and it's quite important to, and automated flows can be quite big and complex. You saw that the flow tree can become really big really fast. So the best way to start is actually to start with one single flow. Think of one customer journey that you want to automate and personalize a little bit more. Start with that one first. So for example, onboarding a customer, or a win-back rate, or a lead nurturing, or a ticket handling process, etc. The second one is to just stay focused. It's quite fast. You may be quite fast tempted to actually create something really, really big, and you think, oh, it will be really cool to do that, and then that, and then that, and then you don't stay focused. So start with a single flow, stay focused, and then the third one, and probably the most important one, is involve other departments, especially if you work with marketing, involve sales, for example, or your customer service or your aftermarket, and create a customer journey together with them. Then it's much easier for everybody to be on the same page and have consensus on the goal and why we are doing that. And if you want to get started with Lime automated flows, talk to one of your customer representative or your project manager, or if you don't know who that is, just contact us through the webpage or our support, and then we'll put you in contact with the right person. And then you can learn a little bit more also about the automated flows and how they work, or the rest of the marketing package, or Lime CRM, if that's the first time you join us. So perfect, I managed it with just in time. And let's see if we have any questions. So
hi,
welcome,
everybody.
Cleo.
Yeah, I'm excited to join for the last couple minutes of this webinar. Great job, Matthias, for the informative presentation. So let's dive straight into some of the questions that we received throughout the presentation. So the first question, I'll hand it to you, Matthias, because it relates to what you were talking about before when it comes to the types of automated flows and the different use cases. So does the product support flows for the whole customer lifecycle?
Of course, it can do that. You can have a flow that goes from lead to actually becoming a customer, and then from a customer you can have an onboarding, and then maybe some upselling, and then hopefully you will not need to use it, but maybe a win back one as well. So we can create all of it. But as I said in the previous slide, it's quite easy to get tempted that we want to create the entire thing at once. But then remember, try to stay focused, start with one first, and then you can build up from there. It's much easier to do that way instead of creating a huge one and then trying everything and hoping that everything works smoothly. So it's better to start with one, some try and error, and then we can build the rest of it as well. But yeah, the short answer is yes.
Yeah, exactly. And automated flows are a tool that support customer relationship management across the entire customer lifecycle. So definitely flexible to fit whatever need is, whatever stage of the customer lifecycle an audience member or a subscriber is. We can always meet them where they're at in the customer journey. And so I guess we'll round out the presentation today with one last question. And so someone was curious about the integration with CRM, and I'm seeing some other questions pop up, so we'll definitely have a minute to spare. But yes, in the short, automated flows are a Lime product, and so they fully sync with Lime CRM. So whether you are on the sales side or the marketing side, all of the actions and a person's journey through the automated flow is visible from both the Lime marketing perspective and if you're working in the CRM. So everybody can follow up on someone's journey in an automated flow. So let's see what our question is. So a fresh question here. Can we create flow from point that sales ad customer person in certain campaign?
Oh, and
So
of course I can. Do you want to answer that, Cleo, or should I answer that one?
go ahead.
Perfect. I mean, if you want to, if sales adds a person to a campaign, for example, it may be a campaign on a new product or a new or it may be whichever campaign. You can create an automated flows on that. It doesn't necessarily need a trigger. You can create an automated flows based on just a campaign, and you can add manually the participants. So there's nothing stopping you from using that.
Exactly. So definitely accessible from sales and marketing side.
Yes.
So that sums up the questions for today. I'll hand it over to you, Matthias.
Thank you. And if you have more questions, you can ask us at the chat, or you can come in contact with me, Cleo, or anybody at Lime, and we can try and answer the questions as best as possible. But for now, thank you for watching. Thank you very much for sitting in this half an hour. just before Christmas, and hopefully you can get yourself some automated flows as a Christmas gift. And thank you again so much from me and Cleo, and have a nice day, and we'll see you around.
Thanks. Bye.